Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm really excited to be sharing with you my first alternative project using the Lots of Pun Paper Pumpkin Kit from December 2021. So this kit creates 3 fun punny cards. This one says "Peel Better Soon," and it's got this really cute banana. The second one says "I'm sorry, that's the pits," and has these cute cherries. And then the third one has some fun sayings. "Let's grow mold together," "I loaf you," and "You tell the best yolks." So the kit comes with everything you need to make 3 of each of these cards. And what I like to do is take the supplies from this kit and create alternative cards. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you how I created these cards. This one says, "Go bananas, go, go bananas." And what I really love about these cute little guys is that I've added on some hands and feet and really kind of added a lot of character to them. I've done the same with the cherry stamp set. This one says, "Hi, I pick you." And then it's got this really cute little heart in the center. So today I'm going to be creating a third card using the bread and egg stamp to create a card very similar to these ones so that you can see how I made these. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's begin with the stamping. Now you'll notice that on my original 2 cards, I stamped the images 3 times across my basic white cardstock piece. And this piece is 2.5 inches by 4 inches. Today I'm going to be using 2 different stamps, the bread and the egg stamp, and so I'm going to divide up those 3 into different numbers. I'm going to use my Early Espresso ink pad instead of the Early Espresso ink spot that came in the kit, just because it's a little easier for me when making these videos. I'm going to begin with the bread image, and I'm going to stamp it up a little bit on the higher side of my cardstock just to give space to these other images I'm going to be including. And I'm going to do 2 of those, 1 on each side. Then I'm going to stamp my egg, and I'm just going to fit it right here between the 2, just like that. Now I'm going to add some color to these images. And so I'm going to pull in my Stamp and Blend markers. I've got So Saffron and Crumb Cake, and I'm going to do the bread in my crumb cake. And I'm going to start with the light color here. You can color over Stampin' Classic ink colors. You just want to be careful that you don't add too much color because it can start to bleed a little bit. And then do the same on the other one. I'm using my fine tip around the edge just so that I'm not getting too much ink over that stamped image. I am going to take my darker crumb cake and just add a little darker color for that crust. So you'll get something like this. And then for the egg, I'm going to start with my light So Saffron, and then maybe just add a little bit of dark So Saffron at the bottom for shadow. Can't really tell that it's there. If you wanted to add a little bit of color within that yolk, you're welcome to. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it white. All right, so once you've colored with your Stamp and Blend markers, you're ready to add the faces. Now the stamp set that came in the kit comes with 2 different faces. There is a small and then a large. And I'm going to use the small one for my egg. And I'm just going to stamp it right in the center. And then the larger ones I'm going to use with my bread. And the reason for that is because there's some accessories that you can match with these. So all cute little smiley faces there. Then I'm going to grab those accessories, and there's one that's glasses, and I just think that's so cute, and it fits really nicely with that larger face. Just have to get right above it so that you can see where you're stamping. And then there's a mustache as well. So just kind of, you're gonna kind of place that over this smile so that you just get the two little eyes popping out over that mustache. And those little accessories add so much character to these images. So I'm going to go ahead and close my ink pad. We'll come back to that when we stamp our greeting. And I'm going to use now my Early Espresso Stampin' Write marker. And I'm going to add some of the arms and feet to these guys. So I'm going to start with my bread, and I'm just going to make 2 legs, and then I'm going to add the feet, and it's just kind of a bubble at the bottom. And you want to make sure that they go the right direction. So you don't want them to go inside, kind of come on the outside. And then for the hands, I'm just going to add them off to the side, add a small little bubble and then a larger one. So for the thumb and fingers. And then if you want, you can fill those in. And that's exactly what I did for my other cards as well. Look how cute he is. Just so much character. We're going to do the same thing over here for our other piece of bread. And he's kind of tilted a little bit. So it's kind of like a heart shape, but with one side is a little smaller. Okay, and then we've got the little egg guy, and you can add legs wherever. I'm just going to do 2 little legs right there. And then I am going to place some arms coming off to the side, probably over the toast since there's not a lot of room. Like that. Okay, so just by adding a couple little details, you really can give those images some fun personalities and looks. So let me just walk you through how I did the other ones. So the cherries were a little tricky. So I used the small face inside the cherries. I colored them with the Poppy Parade Stampin' Blend markers and then the Granny Apple Green. Because the two are so close, I wanted it to look like they were maybe had some arms around each other, and so I just did a little double line in the center of each one of those, and then did one hand from each one poking up. Then for the bananas, I wanted to try some different body shapes, and so I rotated the banana and how I stamped it on my cardstock, and then added some different arms and legs at different sizes depending on the shape of the body. And you just love those cute mustaches and glasses on these guys as well. Oh, and I colored these with the So Saffron and Crumb Cake just to add a little bit of texture and color to those bananas. Now that that's had some time to dry, let's go ahead and use the light Crumb Cake and add a little shadow under each one. And I've done the same on my banana and cherries as well. So you just want to kind of, I'm going to use my thin one because it's a little bit easier to work with. Just add a little shadow by the feet of each one. You kind of want to keep in the shape of the original image. So if you're using the banana, then try to kind of create that nice long shadow look. But with these guys, they're both kind of just skinny and flat kind of. So you just need to add a little shadow there. So now that that stamped piece is ready for our card, we're going to go ahead and cut some other pieces from the kit for our card today. I've got the Crumb Cake envelope. It has the Granny Apple Green pattern on the inside, and we're going to go ahead and open that by trimming off just the smallest amount along the bottom and sides. And this is going to give us, it's going to open up the card or envelope for us so that we can use it on our card. So you're going to have 2 pieces. This side doesn't have any pattern. However, when you open up the other envelopes for our other cards, so here you can see we've got the stripes, and that comes from the yellow envelope. And then we also have the polka dots and that comes from the blue envelope. But the pattern does go on the other side as well, so you can hold on to these and use them for future cards. However, this one is pretty much just white, so we'll just place that off to the side. The other cards, the pattern goes the entire way down, so you can just cut your piece from this full section right here. However, because this one, the pattern is mostly on the top, we're going to need to do some extra trimming. So the first thing we want to trim off is the sticky edge right here. So just line up the flat side of your envelope and find the edge of that sticky piece. It sits for me about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. Then I'm going to rotate and place that edge on my 4-inch side. That's the final size that we want to use for our card today. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that. And then we are using a 4x4 inch square. So I'm just going to make this easy by lining up. I'm going to use this side first because I like this pattern and I want to make sure that gets onto my card. So I just remove that to make it nice and straight, and then I'll rotate again to 4 inches and cut. And so I do have this piece that's left over that I could use on another project if I'd like. So this piece does have a score line in it, but we do use some other elements that we can cover up, and so I'm going to make sure that that piece is covered up when it's on my card. So the card base color that I'm going to use for this one is Crumb Cake. On my other 2 cards, I've used Pool Party and So Saffron. I have scored it in the middle, and I'm just going to use my bone folder to make a nice crease. And then just like on my other cards, I'm going to add a little bit of splatter with the splatter image that comes in the kit. And I'm going to do it with the same color card ink as cardstock. So this is my Crumb Cake ink, and I'm just going to go ahead and randomly stamp this in the top left corner and then again in the bottom right corner, so opposite sides. That's just going to give a little bit of texture to my card base. So we can go ahead and add our pieces. I've got our envelope pattern here. Then I'm just going to go ahead and add this to the center of my card base at an angle. I do want that color to be at the top and then the white area at the bottom because I will be covering that up with some other things. Then I've added adhesive to my little guys here, and I'm just going to go ahead and make sure to cover up that score line and add it at a different angle just to add a little bit of fun to my card. So I'll get something that looks like this. And then we're going to find some strips to add to our card here. So this is our strip from our kit. The kit comes with a lot of fun strips. This one is the 1-inch crumb cake piece. I have cut it in half so that it's a 1/2 inch, and I did add it here to the bananas card. And then I also, for the bananas card, used one of the inside pieces here. Let me show you how I got that. So this is the original rectangle piece, which you could use if you wanted, or don't throw away your scraps because this piece here that connects them is the piece that I used for my card. So they're about the same size. The original rectangle maybe is just a little bit bigger. I'm going to go ahead and just use this inside piece. And I'm just going to use that by snipping on each end. I'm going to remove this one and save that for another project. So you'll just get something like that. See how nice that is? And then for my cherry one, I did the same thing for the skinny crumb cake piece here. I cut this skinny one out right there that holds the larger pieces into the sheet. Okay, so that's how I got those 2 pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and use those on my card. So for the larger one, so you just want to find a 1/2 inch. So for my cherry, I did use some other patterns from the envelopes. So I just cut a 1/2 inch and then did another 1/2 inch of the yellow, and I stacked those so that they kind of pop from the dots. You could do the same with any of the colors here. So your choice how you put these cards together. On the one side, we're going to just create a little angle just by cutting that off and then adding this with some adhesive. This I am going to try and put on my card straight. So I'm just going to line it up with my grid paper, find an edge, and try to make that come straight across my card like that. Then for my little Early Espresso striped strip, I'm going to use some liquid adhesive. It's just, I can do some really tiny little dots right there, so I'm not worried about any glue showing if I used something else. This is just gonna go near the bottom, lined up on the right side, like that. And then we're gonna stamp our greeting. So the stamp set that comes just has some really great greetings. And I was thinking of doing something that had to do with both toast and eggs. So let's see. There we've got a toast to your success, and then I could use excited for you. So that would be a good one to combine those two together. So I'm gonna get those two. I do wanna use a different color to let these pop. And so I am going to pull in some of these pool party strips here that come in the kit. I think I'm gonna need two since I've got two fairly long greetings. Now I'll just kind of show you really quickly what I did for the Go Bananas. So this greeting is the Celebrate Go Bananas. Let's see if I can show that to you. So Celebrate Go Bananas. To create just the Go Bananas, I only inked up Go Bananas and I stamped it on one side of my strip. Then I inked it up again and stamped it on the other side. And then there's a small section and I stamped up just Go. So I cleaned it and then re-stamped just Go and did that in the center. And what that does is it gives me two goes for my greeting. I also added with my marker some punctuation. And then for this one, I did stamp actually on the back of my pool party strip to get white because I felt like it already had quite a lot of blue there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stamp on these ones. I'm going to use Early Espresso again. I've added those to a clear block. Just going to ink them up and stamp them in the center of these strips. This one I decided to move off to this side so that I could trim it down so it's not quite too long. And then I can save this other piece for maybe a smaller greeting. This one didn't quite get in the center as much as I wanted it to, but that's okay. And I can also trim off the sides here just to make it match the other one. Then on the back of each strip, we're going to add dimensionals. And these are the mini dimensionals. They did not come in the kit. I just like to use them when I can. If you only have the ones that came in the kit, then you can cut them down so that they fit the size of strip here. Okay, so I'm gonna put a toast to your success first and add that to the top. Actually, maybe I'll do excited for you first because it's a little bit smaller. This one I'm just going to place at an angle. Try not to cover up too much of that, the feet of your egg there. And then this one, maybe I will do it up a little bit higher like that. So excited for you, a toast to your success. Super cute how that came out. And then the last thing we're going to do is add a little bow. And you can place this anywhere you want. I'm going to add it to the end of my greeting. And I've just placed a glue dot. And then I'm kind of pushing that glue dot in on itself to make it a little smaller so that it can fit my tiny little bow that I created with 6 inches of the linen thread that came in the kit. So our card is now all done. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create these punny cards today. If you're interested in getting your own paper pumpkin kit, please use the link in the description box to subscribe. If you'd like to get written instructions or see close-up images on how to create these cards, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.